Trevor's just let me know that we are good to go.
I'm noting that I'm not seeing Councillor Buderick yet.
Rick?
Yes, I can hear you, Ron.
Excuse me, I'm not seeing anyone except Fred and Lori.
That's just the cameras aren't on yet. Now you can see me.
Buderick's just been in.
Now the Councillor Buderick is here. Okay. With that, I will ask council to come on screen. And there's the deputy. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, the 59th session of council on this Monday, December the 13th, 2021. I welcome you all to the last session for 2021. Okay. As calling the meeting to order, I note that we have been in closed session since 6 o'clock this evening. At the time we were reviewing the closed session minutes from the previous meeting, a proposed or pending land acquisition, personal matters about identifiable individuals regarding the Renewable Energy Fund Grant Review Committee applications, and a report from our CAO with regard to labor relations. The Verizon report indicates that we did approve those closed session minutes, and we have provided direction to staff on the land acquisition question and the CAO's report, and the items from the identifiable issues with regard to the Renewable Energy Fund Grant Review Committee applications will come up with that direction coming in item 15.3 later on in the agenda. Okay, so with that, at this time, I will ask all members to turn off their cameras and allow the clerk to start our national anthem. Madam Clerk. Okay. At this time, we acknowledge that we are being hosted on the ancestral lands of the Haudenosaunee, Mississauga, and Omami Manini peoples. We acknowledge and welcome the presence of all Indigenous peoples, including the Métis, Inuit, and other First Nations from across this vast land, who also makes this place home. The lands we are on today are recognized in the Two-Row Wampum, Dish with One Spoon Treaty, Treaty 27, and the Crawford Purchase. Welcome all. And that, I welcome you back once again and acknowledge that we are now up to item number 5 on the agenda, the open forum. The first 15 minutes of any regular council meeting is set aside for open forum. Any individual may address council to voice an opinion on subject matters of municipal concern, excluding matters subject to a public meeting, as in under the Planning Act. We can only speak once and for no more than 3 minutes at this time, and notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act and in accordance with Ontario's Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, all information provided for or at an open forum, public meeting, consultation, or other public process are considered part of the public record. As Loyalist Township meetings are being held virtually right now, anyone wishing to speak at council meetings is asked to register in advance with the clerk's division at the given coordinates. And you can also use the raise hand option when called upon by the chair. Now is the time for such option. And I turn to the clerk. Do we have anyone that has registered wishing to speak in the open forum this evening?
Nobody for the open forum. I believe there's one that is looking to speak during one of the planning public open houses.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. Again, I will ask any member of the audience, if you're here to speak on an issue not part of the public meetings that are coming shortly, that you would use the raise hand feature in the Zoom utility to identify that you wish to speak at this time. I'm not seeing any, and I don't believe the clerk is seeing any.
Oh, no, Your Worship.
Okay, so we will move forward. Thank you, Ed. Last call. Now, we'll move forward to the public meetings. We'll start with 6.1, a public meeting with regard to 374 Amherst Drive, Amherstview, Brookland Square Holdings Ltd, D09-003-2021 and D14-010-2021. Public meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of Section 1715 and 3412 of the Planning Act, R.S.O. 1990, to consider an amendment to the Loyalist Township official plan and an amendment to the comprehensive zoning bylaw 2001-38 as amended. The proposed amendment applies to 374 Amherst Drive. The proposed official plan amendment to the Loyalist Township official plan proposes to redesignate the property from medium density residential to high density residential to facilitate 30 stacked townhouse units. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment will serve to rezone the property from shopping center commercial to a residential type 5 exemption zone to permit the proposed 30 stacked townhouse units. The zoning bylaw amendment is also requesting a number of site-specific zoning provisions to facilitate that development. And the Loyalist Township staff will present an overview of the report. The applicant and or their agent will be asked if they wish to present information, and council shall hear in person or by his or her counsel, solicitor or agent, any person who claims to be affected by this application. At this time, I will call Loyalist Township planning staff forward. I'm not sure who's preparing this report. Ms. Furness, welcome. Ms. Furness, you're muted right now.
I apologize for that through you, Your Worship. Staff don't have a presentation this evening. It's a public meeting. The applicant's agent is here to provide an overview of the application, so they should be in the audience to present during the public meeting, and staff are available for any questions as well.
Excellent, thank you very much. Is the applicant or their agent here to speak? And if you so, I see Ms. Powder has her hand up. Madam Clerk, can you bring Ms. Powder over?
Yep, should be coming over shortly.
Welcome, Ms. Powder.
Hi. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I will share my screen.
we go.
Okay. Hi, good evening. My name is Latoya Powder. I'm the urban planner with Armitage Homes Limited, and I will be giving a zoning bylaw and official plan amendment presentation this evening for 374 Amherst Drive, also known as Brookland Square. So today's amendment is to request a zoning bylaw official plan to allow for the development of a 3-story townhouse building comprised of 30 stacked townhouse units to be developed under a condominium or HOA homeowners association style ownership. So the proposal is located on Amherst Drive and Spears Boulevard. It is part of a bigger project, phase 2 of phase 1. So the proposal is 0.33 hectares. It's currently vacant with residential to the south, open space located to the west, future development to the north and to the east of the property. It's also located on a high transit route. So the Amherstview bus number 10 is directly on the property's frontage there. So the 30 stacked townhouse units will offer diversity and affordability for housing options within the community. Typically, this style of housing has a 2-bedroom unit at the bottom, another 2-bedroom unit above, and then 3-bedroom units just above those ones. Parking will be provided on site for the townhouse dwellings. It's proposed to be shared with the existing commercial use, which is currently a pharmacy that was developed as part of this phase 1 of the overall site. And common amenity areas will be located just east of the proposal along Amherst Drive. So this is just kind of a elevation showing what the proposal looks like. So the idea again is there's a unit at the bottom here, and then there's a middle unit here, and then a 1.5-story unit above. So this proposal is consistent with the PPS as shown here. It helps to redevelop underutilized land. It provides alternative and housing options. And also it's compatible with adjoining uses. So it's also compatible with the official plan in terms of, at the moment, it is designated for commercial use, and we are looking to redesignate a portion of it for residential. And then this would also allow it to come into conformity for the high density designation, as it's 120 units per hectare, and I believe we're about 60 units per hectare. Sorry. Sorry about that. And so it's compatible with adjacent uses. It meets the functional needs of the community. And as I mentioned, it does provide affordability in housing, as this would come in under $200,000 less than what's currently being marketed in the area. So for the zoning relief, it would be a site-specific R5 zone with amendments to density, parking, and front yard. The front yard amendments required would be 4.5 meters from the front property line rather than the 7.5 meters that's required in the R5 zone. The site is compatible with existing uses. It provides density on transit routes within walking distance to commercial uses, parks, and institutions. So as I mentioned, this request is consistent with the PPS. It does conform with the official plan policies. It's compatible with surrounding uses. And this proposal would be good development and good planning, and would be an interest with the public. Thank you for your time, and any questions?
Thank you very much, Ms. Powder. Council, do we have any questions for the representatives of this application? I'm seeing no questions from council at this time. Okay. So with that, I will, if there's no questions, I will ask you to stop sharing your screen for a moment.
figure out how.
So we can see each other. That's okay. We're
Um,
all getting
there it is.
used to the
Okay.
Zoom environment. Thank
Sorry
you very
about
much.
that.
That's fine. And I will ask you to stay here in the panelist section while I make the call to the public that are in attendance. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this application, either for or against this evening? And again, I will ask if you do wish to speak to it, that you use the raise hand feature, and our clerk will pay attention to any that appear.
Not seeing any hand raised, to your worship.
Seeing no hands raised at this time. Give it another moment. Sometimes it's difficult to get through this with Zoom. We're all learning. Okay. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this application, we would invite you to raise hand at this time. I am seeing none. I will come back to council. Council, do we have any final questions with regard to this application? I'm seeing nothing. The recommendation attached to this report is such that a recommendation be brought forward to council once all comments from the departments, agencies, and public have been addressed. Okay. And I would look to council for a motion. Councillor Buderick? So moved. So moved. And Councillor Gordon, you're seconding? Thank you. Any comments from the mover or seconder?
I would just like to see what the staff has to say to this for many different reasons instead of asking questions tonight. But that's all.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else have comment or question? Seeing nothing further, I will call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. I will say thank you very much, Ms. Bowder. Okay. And we will move forward to public meeting regarding Lakeside Subdivision Phase 8, D12-291-2021 and D14-007-2021. A public meeting is held in accordance with the provisions of Section 3412 and 5120 of the Planning Act, R.S.O. 1990, to consider an amendment to the Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2001-38 as amended and a draft plan of subdivision. The proposed draft plan of subdivision and zoning bylaw amendment applies to lands described as part of Lot 35, Concession 1, and Lot 12 of 29M-21, located in the area south of Kildare Avenue and east of County Road 6 in Amherstview. The proposed subdivision seeks approval of a draft plan of subdivision consisting of 35 single detached lots. The plan also includes a parkland block, 2 walkway blocks, 5 lot addition blocks to be added to existing lots on Island View, as well as an extension of the right-of-way connecting McDonough Crescent to a new right-of-way to be named Jack Kippen Place. The proposed amendment to the township zoning bylaw will serve to rezone the property from community facility zone to residential type 3 exemption 6 to a new residential type 3 exemption R3-XX zone, residential type 1 R1 zone, and residential type 3 exemption 14 zone to permit single detached dwellings and allow for site-specific zoning provisions to facilitate the development of the 35 single detached lots. The proposed zoning amendment also includes rezoning 5 blocks of land to be merged with abutting properties along Island View Drive. Okay. Does staff have a presentation to attach to this one this evening?
No, Your Worship, the applicant's agent is here again to present during, just because it's just a public meeting this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. And that I see Mr. Armitage has joined us, and I see Mr. Jocelyn's hand up. The applicant or the representative of which one would like to present this evening? And Mr. Jocelyn. So, Mr. Jocelyn, I can see you. If you can unmute, go ahead.
There we go. Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. My name is Murray Jocelyn. I'm speaking for Armitage Homes Limited. And Your Worship, I'd like to say that you stole most of my presentation already. I didn't have a lot to add. I'd like to start by sharing my screen, though, if I could, and we'll see if this works.
Go ahead, sir.
Can everybody see that?
Not quite yet, and now I can. Can everyone else see it? I'm seeing nods from council. So yes, go ahead.
What we should be looking at here is the Lakeside Phasing and Staging Master Plan. This has been prepared by Armitage Homes Limited and its predecessor companies, Leighton Lands, through the development of all of Lakeside Subdivision. So it gives a very good overview of what's existing in the neighborhood. You can see the location of the proposed Lakeside Phase 8 here at the extension of McDonough Crescent. In fact, Lakeside Phase 8 will provide for the completion of those two legs of McDonough, which are at this time terminated in temporary turnaround. So we'll be able to remove those with the completion of this plan. As you mentioned, we're applying for a draft plan of subdivision and rezoning to permit this residential subdivision to proceed. 35 single-family homes are going to be created. As part of the application, we've submitted the required studies, including servicing studies, stormwater management, geotechnical. All these things will be reviewed by staff, I'm sure, and comments provided. I want to make a point that the application does meet the official plan policies for both Loyalist Township and for the County of Lennox and Addington. And in my opinion, it's good planning. It provides an opportunity for the completion of this residential neighborhood. It makes good logical sense, mostly because of the completion of McDonough Crescent, which I'm sure many people will be anxious to see cleaned up and completed. I have very little else to add to this application, but I would be pleased to take any questions that might. Oh, sorry. I should add one thing to the to this. Part of the proposal includes 5 lot additions, which will increase the lot size of existing lots on Islandview Crescent. Those lot owners have identified themselves to Armitage Homes previously, pointing out that their lots aren't as deep as some of their neighbors, and this gives an opportunity to make these lots consistent with the existing homes just to the east on Islandview. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen and take any questions if I might.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jocelyn. Council, do we have any questions with regard to this application? Anyone? Seeing no questions at this time, I will ask you to stay put, Mr. Jocelyn, and as we go to the audience for any public comments. This time, any member of the public wishing to speak for or against the application is invited to do so. I do see one hand up already, and I will ask the clerk to invite that person in to make their comments.
Oops. Invite sent. They'll have to just accept it. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. And I see Mr. Broderick. Right. Are you able to hear us, Mr. Broderick? So far, we can't hear you. You seem to be muted. We can see you now, Mr. Broderick, but there now we should be able to
now
hear
you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I just want to thank the applicant for being proactive in reaching out to the members of the community along Islandview Drive. We bought the property at 161 Islandview a number of years ago, and at that time the property was landlocked. The Tackaberry property to our west, and the Hydro property again to the west. And that was a prime consideration when we bought this property, was that although, you know, things do change, was that there was really going to be no building behind us. We don't have any objection really to the developer's plan. Looking through the plan, the map on page 40, I believe it is the plan of choice. And my wife, Heather, and I would support that. we're just not in favor of a public walkway behind our property. It was, again, not in any plan when we purchased our house. And given the sort of the layout of the plan as I see it, from my point of view, it would be, I guess, people buying into a new property. If the pathways as the developer has are there, they know what they're buying into, where we weren't buying into at the time a public walkway behind us. Another thing with the public walkway is that if it did go behind our house, those walkways aren't serviced in the winter. So as far as the active transportation plan, it really serves no function because there's no clearing in any of the public walkways, such as the ones behind McDougall, sorry, they're not serviced in the winter. So I think the idea of a public walkway, the two walkways as outlined in the Armitage presentation, is much better, and they would be plowed in the winter, etc. And also I know you're already in negotiations with Hydro, but it may also eliminate the need to negotiate with Hydro to get a right of way through that property. But we would support the applicant's plan as laid out, and hope that council, when it comes to that point, would support that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Broderick. Okay. Is there other people who wish to come forward? I'm seeing a few more hands. I will turn it to the clerk to invite them in. And I will actually realize that I forgot something. I'm supposed to ask any member wishing to make a presentation to us to state their name and address. I do note that Mr. Broderick did that anyway, so I thank you. And I will ask the next attendee, I believe it's Mr. Batt, to do the same.
Hi there, Adam Batt. I live at 159 Island View.
Welcome.
Much the same as Mr. Broderick, I would object to the path directly behind our house. Much like Mr. Broderick, when we bought in, we knew there was an option of developing the land behind us. However, we weren't aware that there could be a path directly behind our house. In our case, that path would be, I would say, less than 20 feet from our back deck. So there would be people walking behind, members of the public. We have dogs. The amount of noise coming from the dogs, going crazy with people walking by in the back, it would not make our lives very good. Our quality of living, I think, would go down. So I would ask that the council consider, again, moving the path on the original plan. I think that would also work better for the new houses, a shorter walk to the park, as opposed to having to kind of go all the way around and loop in between houses to use that path to get anywhere they might want to go.
Is that everything, Mr. Batt?
That is. Thank you for your time.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. I will come back to the clerk. The next up.
Chris and Amanda has been invited in.
And Chris and Amanda, we would welcome you and ask you to state your name and address, please.
Yes, sorry. Thank you for your time. We're at 157 Island View. And it's Chris Clayton and Amanda Clayton.
Welcome. Thank you.
So, yeah, I want to express that the same as Paul and Adam discussed, that we are supportive of the additional blocks of land and would be against the pathway, but my comments would kind of be the same as others. But again, we would support the plan that is up there right now. So thank you for your time.
I thank you very much for your coming forward this evening and for your understanding that you're repeating the others. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
With that, we will move to the next presenter. I believe, Madam Clerk. I'm seeing the name is abbreviated Douthwaite.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Megan Douthwaite True, and I'm here with my husband Ian True. We're at 153 Island View Drive. And I would also like to echo the sentiments of my neighbors that we appreciate Mr. Armitage being proactive when it comes to the enjoyment of our lot by extending our lots to provide privacy and bring us in line with some of the deeper lots. And we would appreciate no pathway in the back just to maintain that distance from a public space.
Thank you very much. Anything further? Okay, well, thank you. And I believe we have another hand up.
I've just invited Benjamin Fisher in.
Thank you. Mr. Fisher is able to accept the invitation. I think there he is. Welcome, Mr. Fisher. If you can hear me, welcome to the meeting. And if you can unmute, you can make your comments.
Thanks. Hi. I just wanted to round out the 5 Island View neighbors. Ben Fisher from 155 Island View. Nothing other to say other than I wanted to thank John for meeting with us earlier this week to go over the plans. Excuse me. And say that my wife and I are also supportive of the plan laid out there with the extra block of land rather than the pathway. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you very much. At this time, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to come forward to speak with regard to this application? I'll call again. Is there anyone who wishes to come forward to speak with regard to this application? I do note that several of the presenters have made reference to Mr. Armitage, and I note that Mr. Armitage is here tonight. Does he wish to make any comment?
No, not much. Interestingly, the reference to the pathway isn't in the staff report. However, in our meetings with staff, there's been an expressed desire to see a walkway extended along there. And I felt it was prudent to let the adjacent owners know that although that's not part of our proposal, it looks like staff may be coming to council with that proposal. And it'd be unfortunate if those in the public who are attending the meeting weren't made aware of that. So that's what's behind, the residents in Island View, I think, expressing their opinion. And I think we'll leave it at that at this time, but I may not have heard the last of this issue.
Thank you very much, sir. One final call for anyone else who wishes to speak on this application. I'm seeing no hands. Turn back to council. Council, do you wish to have any other questions or comments with regard to the application? Again, we do have a recommendation before us to receive it, and that the recommendation be brought forward to council once the comments from township departments, agencies, and the public have been addressed. Council, what would you like to do with this? Councillor Buderick, go ahead.
Again, I'd like to see staff come back with their comments. And I think hearing tonight, we've heard from the public fairly decisively who would directly be affected, that how important it is for their comments to be considered when coming forward with something to council. But I would like to see move forward with the recommendation.
Thank you. Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're moving the recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gordon, thank you. Mover, any further comment? No? Second or comment?
Everything was there. Yes. No, it's good.
Okay. Second or comment? No? Anyone else have comment? I'm seeing no further comment. I will thank all the attendees for their comments tonight in this public meeting. And at this time, I will call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Those opposed? Motion is carried. Okay. With that, we shall move forward. We're now completed our public meetings for this evening, so we look to confirm the agenda for this evening. Okay. We have the agenda before us. Staff, is there anything to alter or adjust the agenda as is presented?
No, Your Worship.
Thank you. Council, are we happy with the agenda as it is? And if so, can I get a motion to that effect? Councillor Townend, so moved, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Any comment? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? I'll go to Councillor Townend.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to enter into the public record that I did declare an indirect pecuniary interest in the matter before council in closed session pertaining to the appointment of members to the subcommittee of the Renewable Energy Fund Grant Review Committee, and I do so hereby declare the same indirect pecuniary interest in regard to item 15.3 on this evening's agenda.
Thank you. That is so noted. Are there any other declarations of pecuniary interest to report? I'm seeing none. We'll move forward. Other than our public meetings already, there are no delegations and presentations scheduled for this evening. So we move to the adoption of minutes from the 58th session of council, November the 22nd. We have the minutes before us. Are there any noted errors or omissions? Oh, to the clerk.
Sorry, we note that item 13.5, we need to just add the mover and seconder in and just clarify under item 9.2. We think the another version was uploaded, just missing those two items. So we'll correct those for the final version.
Okay. Thank you. I hadn't caught that. Any other amendments to the minutes from that meeting? I'm seeing none. Can I get a motion to approve as amended, as indicated by the clerk? I'll go to the deputy. So moved. Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Parks, thank you. Okay. Are there any comments with regards to those minutes? I'm seeing none. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We move to Council Direction List, Office of the Chief Administrator, 13.1, the Odessa Agricultural Society Unusual Utility Billing. We have a report before us, and we have Mr. Dickey, our treasurer, to comment. Mr. Dickey, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, nothing to add to the report, just if there are questions. Also, Ms. Merritt's here as well, if there's any questions on the technical side of the water issue as well.
Thank you. Council, do we have any questions with regard to this report? For either Mr. Dickey, the treasurer, or Ms. Merritt, the director of the department? I'm seeing no questions. We have a recommendation before us. Council, what would you like to do with this recommendation? I'll go to the deputy.
Move to receive and adopt the recommendation.
Motion to receive and adopt. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Townend, thank you. Mover, any comment?
No, I think I said it all at the former meeting.
Thank you. Seconder comment? Anyone else have comment on this? I'm seeing nothing further. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. Thank you. And I'll say thank you to the treasurer and the director. We move to item 14, Community and Customer Services Department, recommendation 14.1 with regard to outdoor ice rinks. We have a report, and there's Ms. McFarland, our director of the department. Ms. McFarland, do you have anything to add or to highlight in this report?
The only thing I'd like to highlight is if council chooses to not follow this direction, then it does impact the proposed operating budget for 2022.
Thank you. Council, do we have any questions with regard to the report? I'm seeing no questions at this time. We do have a recommendation. What would we like to do with the recommendation, Council? Councillor Townend, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move to receive the report and adopt the recommendation.
And so it is so moved. Do I have a seconder for that? Council? I'll go to the deputy. You're seconding? Thank you. Mover, any comment? Seconder, any comment? Does anyone else have comment with regard to this report? Councillor Buderick, go ahead.
Just to state that I'm slightly disappointed that this isn't going to happen, but I believe it's more to do with what's going on with our health rather than anything else, and that's totally understandable in light.
Thank you. Any other comment? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We move forward to item 14.2, Live Music Sundays, end of season report. And we have the director here with us. Ms. McFarland, do you have anything to add or to highlight to this report?
Nothing further, Your Worship.
And thank you. Council, do we have any questions? No questions? Did everybody enjoy the music? Again, we have the report and a recommendation. Do we have anyone wishing to make a motion? Deputy, go ahead.
Move to receive for information as per the recommendation.
Motion to receive for information. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Parks, thank you. And any comments? Mover, seconder? Nothing. Anyone else? I'm seeing none. And I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Ms. McFarland. I believe we move on to item 15.1, the 2022 municipal election vendor report. From the clerk. Hard to believe we're there already. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
I know, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. So this report is just before council. It's kind of twofold. The one is the 2022 municipal election e-voting service vendor. And then the second is the proposed election sign bylaw, which is mirroring the one that was just recently approved at the county. So the process for the e-voting is using the cooperative purchase under our procurement bylaw, which allows for us to partner with municipalities. So this is all lower tiers in LNA County and Frontenac that will be going and using the same vendor that we used in the last two previous elections with IntelliVote. And the second is the, as I said, the bylaw to regulate municipal election signs. The clerks did meet to go over having a standardized bylaw, or to try to standardize the bylaw in regards to municipal election signs. As council is aware, it was removed from the sign bylaw with the understanding that a separate election sign bylaw would be coming forward. So that's here before you, and if council wants, the other alternative is to put it to a committee of the whole as well, if additional discussion is required.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Council, do we have questions with regard to the report? Anyone? I'll go to the deputy.
I can't recall if this is the proper time or not, but I would request separation between the two items.
Absolutely. So we have two recommendations. Item 1 with regard to the cooperative purchase, and item 2 with regard to a bylaw to regulate municipal election signs. We can separate those. Okay. That will still be two different motions, but I will still ask the question, does any member of council have a question with regard to, I'll start with the cooperative purchase of the IntelliVote system. No comments or questions? Oh, question, Councillor Buderick, go ahead.
It was just a motion to approve what was recommended, sir.
Motion, I'll take that one. Doesn't seem to be any other questions, so I will take that motion for the first item, which is the IntelliVote system. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Parks? Any comment from the mover? Seconder? Anyone else have comment with regard to the cooperative purchase of the IntelliVote system? I'm seeing no questions, no comments. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We now move to the a bylaw to regulate the municipal election signs. Okay. Do we have questions? Seeing no questions. Do we have anyone wishing to make a motion? I'll go to the deputy.
I'd move to receive and refer to the next regularly scheduled committee of the whole.
I'll take that as a motion. So moved. Councillor Parks, you're seconding. Thank you. Deputy, do you have any comment?
Just, I think it would be good. It's not that I object to this at all. As far as we need a bylaw like this. I think it's just a big change, and it would be nice if there was the opportunity for some more discussion if anyone has questions or concerns as we look at it a little deeper.
Thank you. Seconder, did you have comment?
I would just completely agree with what the deputy had said.
Thank you. Anyone else have comment on this motion? Seeing nothing further, it's the motion to refer to COW. Right, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. I think that satisfies this requirement for that report, Madam Clerk, and we move to item 15.2, which is the decision letter from the Ombudsman. Madam Clerk, do you have any comment on this?
Your Worship, this is up in this section, although because it is for information, it could have been down, but it was just if anybody had any questions. This is a determination that council did not contravene the Municipal Act. The Ombudsman just wanted to make this public, and therefore we'll be putting it on our website as well.
Thank you. Council, do we have any comments or questions for the clerk on this? Seeing none, I appreciate the concern was brought forward by the public. I am glad to see that the Ombudsman has confirmed that there was no violation in this matter. Right. This is a report for information. Can I get a motion to receive for information? Councillor Parks, so moved. Do I have a seconder? Deputy, thank you. Councillor Parks, any comment?
No, just glad to see that we're doing things the way we're supposed to.
Absolutely. Seconder comment? Anyone else have comment on this one? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. We move forward to 15.3. And we have a report. And as was mentioned earlier, that this item with the identifiable individuals was brought forward through closed session, and there is a recommendation coming out of that. I believe the clerk has a list of names available.
I do. So just wanted to, touch base that there was 11 applications from residents looking to serve on both of the subcommittees, 9 for Ward 1 and 2 for Ward 2 and 3. From the closed session, I'm just going to share my screen. And this is the names that will be going forward to the bylaw that will be presented in January council agenda.
Thank you. Council, do we have any discussion on this? Seeing none. Again, it's worth noting that Councillor Townend did declare conflict on this and therefore has stepped out of the meeting for this portion. Okay. We have a recommendation to receive and that the drafting of a bylaw be enacted and passed to appoint members to the Ward 1 committee and the Ward 2 and 3 subcommittee at the January 10th meeting as listed, but also that we continue to advertise for the 2 vacancies in the Ward 2-3 committee. Okay. Can I have a motion to that effect, please? Deputy, so moved. Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Parks, thank you very much. Any comments?
Just like to thank everyone that did apply, and we look forward to seeing the recommendations come from the committee.
Thank you very much. I will echo that. Any further final comment? And I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. You're completed with that. I will invite Councillor Townend back in. And we move to item 16.1, appointment of the Committee of Adjustment. We have a report before us and we have our director, Ms. Merritt, here. Ms. Merritt, do you have anything to add or highlight within this report?
Through you, Your Worship, no, nothing to highlight on this report.
And thank you. Council, we have the report before us. Do we have any questions? Not seeing none. We have a recommendation. What would you like to do with this, Council? Would anyone like to make a motion? I'll go to the deputy.
Move to receive and adopt the recommendation.
Motion to receive and adopt. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Buderick, thank you. Deputy, do you have any comment?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Seconder, do you have comment? Does anyone else have comment on this? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We move forward to item 16.2, Latham Pool Products ULC, request for site plan control approval. We have a report with, I believe it's 9 recommendations. Yeah. And we have the director here to explain each and every one of them. Madam Director, do you have any comments to highlight with this report?
No, Your Worship, I'm just trying to still figure out, like, could I explain every single one of them? That's why I have my planning staff here to do that. But no, if there's any questions, I'm sure they can help you. But I actually want to thank staff for getting this report ready for this meeting on December 13th. They've gone through a lot of work to get to this point. So I'd like to thank staff personally.
Thank you very much. Council, do we have any questions with regard to this report? I'm seeing no questions. Again, we have a recommendation to receive and approve based on the following conditions, and it's a list of 9 conditions. Does anyone wish to make a motion with regard to this report? We'll go to the deputy. Thank you.
Move to receive and adopt the recommendation.
Motion to receive and adopt, seconded by Councillor Buderick. Thank you. All right. Mover, any comment?
First off, just to reiterate what Ms. Merritt said, this is a big file, so the work that's been put into it has been really great, and it's kudos to staff for getting it to this stage, and I just look forward to us carrying through further with this project.
Thank you. Seconder, did you have comment? No comment.
Nothing to add.
Thank you. Does anyone else have comment at this time? I'm seeing no further comment. I will echo the comments of the director and the deputy that great appreciation for staff moving this as forward. It has been a lot of work. It's also a very important file for the township as we move forward. So we greatly appreciate that. Mr. Jane, I can see your hand. Unfortunately, at this time during the procedures of this meeting, we don't allow for public input at this time. I do recognize that you're here and appreciate that you are a big part of this as well. With that, we have a mover and seconder. We've had no further comments. I will call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you. We move forward to item 17, emergency services. Nothing. Noticing. Do we have any notice of motion or direct motion this evening? I'm seeing no notices of motion or direct motions. And we'll move to the consent agenda. For the purpose of convenience and for expediting meetings, matters of business that are of a repetitive or routine in nature are included in the consent agenda, and all such matters of business contained in the consent agenda are voted on collectively. A particular matter of business may be singled out from the consent agenda for debate or for separate vote upon the request of any member of council. And in the case of a separate vote, the excluded matter of business is severed from the consent agenda. Each and every matter of business contained in the consent agenda is recorded separately in the minutes of the meeting. Is there anything any member of council wishes to separate within this consent agenda? Councillor Parks?
22.4, please.
22.4. Anyone else have anything they wish to separate? Seeing no hands. Okay. And can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda other than 22.4? Councillor Buderick, so moved. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Townend, thank you. Any comments on any of the other issues within the consent agenda? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We move to item 22.4. Councillor Parks, you wish to speak to it?
Yes, I just wanted to acknowledge that and express that I was a little disappointed to hear that the fireworks are not going to be happening in the village anymore on Canada Day. Certainly understand the reasoning why and the need for it, but I did just want to echo that I'm sure there's going to be a lot of disappointed people for not having that.
I'm sure there were, and I appreciate the difficult decision that the committee had to make for that. Right. Any other comments with regard to that report? It is to be noted and received for information. Can I get a motion to that effect? Councillor Parks, so moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gordon, thank you. Any further comments? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We move to extracted new business updates from members appointed to county council committees or local boards. Does any member of council have an update from any of the committees that they sit on? I'll go to the deputy.
Just realized I do. From county council, I'm sure everyone's already aware, but I would just like to congratulate our mayor for being acclaimed as warden for a second term. Something which is a little unique to have back-to-back terms as warden, but well done, Mayor Brzee, in securing that seat. You've represented the township very well and the county in both positions, but as warden, you have excelled in a lot of portfolios, a lot of folders that have a lot of work that's been coming forward, and being very involved in the EOWC as well. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else that anyone wishes to bring forward from any committees, boards, or county? Seeing nothing more, we move to members' privilege. Is there anything under members' privilege that anyone would like to bring forward? Councillor Gordon, go ahead.
Hi, just wanted to make everyone aware of course, the wind blew over those big bins at the sharing center, and so the staff there had to deal with that, of course. But I guess I've never ceases to amaze me how much hard work and effort the volunteers at the sharing center put in, just doing their everyday thing, sorting through donations and working the hours they do. But in addition to that, I know, Mayor, that you're aware of it, but maybe many others haven't, but they have had probably 75 to 100 instances of either violence or breaking into the bins. They've had all kinds of things stolen. The OPP have been notified numerous times. It's a difficult situation for them. There are a couple cameras there that I guess we're looking into as far as surveillance goes, but I got those pictures the other day and they keep me up to date, and I just thought, what more could these people get? I mean, now the wind's blowing these bins over, but I just want to say hats off to the Lisa and her staff there and the wonderful job they do. So.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gordon. I completely agree. Anyone else wish to bring anything forward under members' privilege? Anyone? I'm seeing nothing. We'll move forward to the confirmatory bylaw. Anyone wish to bring that forward tonight? Councillor Townend, so moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Buderick, thank you. Any comments for the confirmatory bylaw? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We look at the upcoming meeting dates. You would note that the next meeting date is for January of 2022. And I see the clerk's hand is up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Your Worship, we're just looking for a special council meeting to follow the committee of the whole on January 4th, or either following the committee of adjustment before the committee of the whole. We'll do it very similar to what we had done before. It'll be a link so that there's not the time in between, but it's for a planning matter to move it forward.
Thank you. And yes, thank you for the reminder. That is at the call of the chair. I was approached earlier to ask for what will likely be at a 10-15 minute meeting at that time, just to expedite things for our development. Okay, so therefore the January the 4th, there will be a committee of adjustment, followed by a special meeting, followed by committee of the whole, all on the same day. And then January the 10th, we have our regular council. January 31st, we have a committee of the whole for the capital budget, followed by February 3rd, committee of the whole for capital budget. Does anyone have anything that needs to be added to that list? I'm seeing nothing. And before I go to a motion for adjournment, I did want to make note that this is the last meeting of the year, which means that we are coming into the holidays, and I wanted everyone to celebrate a little bit. This is the best I've got right now. Okay. So I will say Merry Christmas to everyone. Season's greetings. I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you get some time to relax and enjoy your families. Merry Christmas to everyone. With that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Councillor Buderick, seconded by Councillor Parks. All right. I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, folks, and have a great holiday.